Want to help shape a brand new system? Then let me tell you about Legend Seeker and how you can support its development while getting some awesome perks. By subscribing to our Legendary tier on YouTube or becoming a paid member on our Discord, you'll get early access to all Legend Seeker lore and mechanics. This means you'll be among the first to dive into the world of Legend Seeker and give direct feedback that will help shape the game. But that's not all. Supporters will also be the first to playtest the system and will get exclusive invites to private streams where we discuss the game in detail. Your input will play a huge role in making Legend Seeker the best that it can be. Now, for those of you who love watching our tabletop role-playing game shows, supporting Legend Seeker comes with some fun bonuses for the casts. Here's how it works. If you're a Copper member on Discord, you can give a $20 benefit to a player of your choice. Silver members can give a $20 benefit to an entire cast of your choice. If you choose to go the YouTube route and subscribe to the Legendary tier, you can provide a $50 benefit to a cast of your choice. And for the ultimate support, Gold members on Discord give a $20 benefit to all casts across both Geeks and Gamers Tabletop and Moonskull. Every bit of support goes directly towards making Legend Seeker a reality. It helps fund the art, writing, editing, and eventual publishing of the game. So, if you want to be a part of this journey and support our shows, join our Legendary tier on YouTube or become a member on Discord. We couldn't do it without you, and we're excited to build Legend Seeker together. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the game.
Hello, you lovely people. I just literally sneezed ridiculously loud right before this, and you missed it. Aren't you happy? Because, wow, it was a humdinger. Yeah, I said humdinger. Anyway, I'm Frost, and this is Frost Written, where I'm working on the lore for the Legend Seeker role-playing game that Erudi is writing. And I chat with him behind the scenes a lot, and we come up with all kinds of crazy stuff. Today, I'm going to be talking about the elves. The elves of the Godlands. And, well, technically all of Erudia, but this is where their homeland is. And I've come up with a rough name, some aphorisms, some sayings, some conflicts going on. Because, like always, I say, I'm going to do this right when the show starts. But when I'm sitting here in the countdown and stuff, I start typing. I've already typed a whole bunch. Because I'm a dork like that. Hello, Paul Farrell. Yeah, Backwoods Gandalf, that's me. I'm like Radagast, Gandalf, and, oh, I don't know, Phil Roberts, maybe, Robertson, maybe Uncle Si, all rolled into one. Let's go with that. Jack. I gotta call people Jack. I don't want to steal his phrase. I might get sued. Hopefully not. But, yeah, I'm drinking some iced coffee, which is no longer iced coffee. It's kind of just somewhat cold coffee now, and a Coke. So I've got all the caffeine. And yes, this does have hot sauce in it. Yes, I put hot sauce into my iced coffee. I also put bitters in there. I am a menace to society. There we go. All right, so this place is called Solinor right now. and it basically means the place of the king. That is the naming convention I came up with. It is the Great Woods where the elves first placed themselves, and the beauty, the wonder, the majesty of their woods have never really changed. It's never really been touched for the most part by the God Killer War and other conflicts because they're very isolationist. They live between two massive, well, not massive, a very large river on one side and woods, and another large river on the other side with woods, neighboring a kingdom that they're allies with. So they have managed to stay somewhat isolated, somewhat safe, though they do travel and sail and go all over the place. They always come back. I do that to stress you out. Yeah, that's what I do. But like I said, I also put bitters in this. Aromatic bitters that you use in like alcoholic drinks. It's really good in iced coffee. If you haven't tried it, you should give it a shot someday. If you like iced coffee. If you don't like iced coffee, then why am I talking to you? I'm just saying. Coffee, 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 coffee. All right. So one thing that I thought would be interesting with the elves is something you never see in a lot of fantasy films and things, and even they kind of even do this in like Lord of the Rings kind of does this for some of the human kingdoms and other places. They don't show or talk a whole lot about some of the agriculture that goes on. Like, I've been talking about it a little bit here and there. Like, the halflings definitely do it. I have the cherry orchards near the Medenford place. The dwarves have places that they grow things underground for the most part, but also they're having their bees. Other races do it. I'm going to be going into that for the people who own the plains, the largest kingdom in the center of the Godlands. The elves as well, because they grow a lot of crops and herbs and things like that. Theirs are way more wild the way they do it. I'm coming up with an idea of how they can actually have their wild controlled architecture because they're more in line with Arendor rather than with Nya. So it's kind of weird because it's like you got Minas Tirith and you're like, yeah, it's a big city. Where are they growing all that wheat for that bread? Are they just importing it all? That seems kind of dangerous. Anyway. Bitters might be fine. It's orange hot sauce. Yes. This iced coffee has this stuff in it right now. It is hotter than Da Bomb, but it tastes way better. Way better. It's such a good taste. Yeah, but there we go. Forgive me if I'm saying you're late. Levistro, you're late. Is a dragon ever late, though? Aren't dragons like wizards, never really late? Just arrive when they mean to? Do you cast Dragon's Breath out of your 12-gauge magic staff craft by artisans of Mossberg? Well, I don't have a Mossberg. I have just cheap old knockoff whatever, so, you know, discount Gandalf. Go with that. Bitters are often more alcoholic than what you're putting them into. They're concentrating or considered an ingredient that can be sold in grocery stores even in dry states. Oh, interesting. You can shame yourself just fine, Chris. Chris Hunt, he's good. Yeah, the colon cleaner. This stuff is really good. It's like I said, it's weird because the bottle on different sites it labels it anywhere from 75,000 Scoville to 250,000 Scoville. Which is, I don't know if it's like a batch or something, but this is a little hotter than this. This really burns when you put it on. This hurts a lot, but the flavors help. So, I don't know. It's not the really horrible Da Bomb stuff, which is a food additive. Rooster sauce. Yeah, you mean like the sriracha kind of type of rooster sauce, you know, with it's basically chili paste. I love that stuff. I use it on everything. And in fact, I was telling Chrysant and everyone else how I eat waffles when they have waffle day at work. And when I do it at restaurants, people look at me strangely. It involves pulling apart the circular waffle into 4 quadrants, so, you know, their little pie slice, folding it, putting a couple of slices of bacon in the waffle, nothing else on it, covering it with sriracha and eating it like a taco. So it's a bacon waffle taco with sriracha sauce on it. Everyone else is eating theirs with berries and fruit and syrup and butter and stuff. I'm just like, pfft. It's a vehicle for bacon and hot sauce. Come on. Dragons can be as late as they want. Who's going to yell at a dragon? Exactly. Yeah, it's a massive difference in Scoville. And I don't understand, Bill, why they list them that way. I don't know if there's other versions of the colon cleaner that is different. I don't know. Bitters are about 45 ABV, so 90 proof. Oof, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, it frightened Disbrew so much, or I don't know, it just didn't really frighten him. I don't think it frightened him. He was so indignant about the hot sauce and coffee thing. It was hilarious. Oh, spicy maple syrup. Yeah. Hot honey. I actually made hot honey at the restaurant the other day when I had goat cheese puffs because they served with honey. I asked the waiter and the cook for cayenne pepper to put in there, and they went back, got the chef, and we put cayenne pepper in the honey and made it. And they, in fact, went back and tried it after I told them how good it was, and they're like, oh man, you're right, but we can't serve that to normal people in the restaurant because they would hate us. Like, yes. Yeah, sriracha, it's on everything. I go through so many bottles that at one point, when I heard this sriracha place in California was closing, I bought a box of sriracha bottles. It was like 6 or 8 bottles, and I'm like, okay, I may have overdone it. I got through 6 of the bottles out of the 8 before they started to get the color shift, like they got dark. Like, oh, okay, maybe these are kind of turning a little. I don't know, but yeah. Chrysanth yelled at you for being late. You assume she had a shovel. Can't be too careful. Dragon Ball. I'm in the States. I'm in the basically the Midwest, northern Midwest. It gets quite cold here. It's fun. You're a very bold flower. Yes, you are, Chrysanth. The other thing I'm going to be doing today at some point, because I feel like it after this crazy day I've had, is I'm going to give myself a little treat and have a little bit of my tawny port here. So I'm only going to sip it. If you guys want me to take like a big gulp or something, you can send Erudi a $50 tip like on his channels, and I'll do a big old gulp of it. I'm only going to do that a couple times though. I'm not gonna drink too much on his streams because, you know, I don't want to go crazy. And it won't get me drunk, but it'll make me really, really, really warm because alcohol just kicks my body temperature up, and it goes through me really fast. Like I'd go use the bathroom really quickly to get it all out of me because my body burns through it so quickly. So it'll make me warm. Fun times. You don't question how you can grab shovels. Green and red Tabasco is hot, but it holds a place in heart. Yes, I love that stuff, but what I've been using the last few years, well, I guess it's been a lot of years, is this. Chipotle Tabasco. Really good smoky flavor. I love this stuff. I use more of this than I use of regular or green Tabasco on something, which is weird. But I just love the smoky flavor of it. Yeah, Chipotle Tabasco is so good. Oh, man. I had that on my breakfast this morning. Anyway. Oh, small batch made locally. Oh, nice. Ooh. Scammed, not scanned. Yeah. It's kind of sad, Jensen, about the scam. All the stupid stuff that went on with that is just so dumb. What was I doing here? Oh yeah, that. So what I did was I considered this place ancient. It's the seat of their home. It's never really been touched. The war has never really stepped inside their boundaries, because that's them. That's what they do. I'm gonna throw the map up here only because I wanted to point this out. It's the temp map that I'm using, so don't take it as gospel or anything. But the thing I'm doing with the shapes and placing things around here is the idea is the Elven lands are between this great big delta that got formed when one of the places, there was a city down here that got destroyed in the war, and it used to have the roads going across and down here, so I'm going to put roads in eventually. this human city got decimated. This whole area got destroyed, and it turned into this marshy delta. The lands of the elves didn't get hit. They have a port down here, and they come on down the rivers and all that stuff. Their access got a little screwed up because of this, but they still have an actual port down here in this little area. But the elves are fine with the people of Freiland, the Freilanders. They have a border that's common. They protect one another. Over on this side, where it goes into the Soul Spires, is just monsters and stuff that never cross this river. The mountains at their back, they've been totally safe this whole time. But they have a few beautiful holds and things that I'm working on here, including one that's on a little island in this little area. They have another one on another little island here that is a massive, where a massive tree grows, which I'll go into some of that stuff in more detail later. But the idea for this is that they are isolated, protected. They're kind of a colder, slightly more pragmatic people. So as Erudi put it, they're not afraid to make those pragmatic, kind of cold decisions for the good of the world, people in general, the mortal realms, and they'll make those decisions. Minnesota. I kind of, poked fun at Minnesota in the Discord chat once or twice, and there were some thoughts on it, kind of entertaining. Yeah, it has Detroit as one of its tumors. Oof. Yeah, I've got some friends who used to live there. In fact, my dad was born in Detroit. Or wait, no, he wasn't born in Detroit. He lived in Detroit when they moved up from, I want to say it was Kentucky or Tennessee, because his mother and father were both Cherokee, but they did not live on the reservations. They lived up in the hills, and they would go down as kids, evidently. They would follow the coal trucks in the mines, and when they dropped coal off, they would wander along the roads, picking up all the coal that fell out in baskets and taking it home for warmth. But then when his dad got a different job doing something in construction, he moved them all up north, and they moved up to Michigan, and that's where he spent his childhood. And then, he moved around other places. To be a barefoot kid somewhere down in Kentucky in the hills, picking coal up off of the roads to heat your house, and then running back through the woods with it. Yes, I'm going to start the beef. The hills have eyes. Oh, man. Let's see. Since the first days of their lives on Erudi, the elves have considered Solinar to be their true homeland, even though they once ranged far and wide across the world. It's a common practice for all adventuring or traveling elves to return to Solinar once every decade or so, usually during a notable celestial event. And I'm leaving it at that. I'm not going to call any specifics out on this yet. That's one of the things I want to do in this, and, Erudi can add or subtract or move stuff around. I want to keep a lot of this high level with fun little hooks in it, and leaving it a little unspoken, so any DM can say, oh, a celestial event, oh, like lunar eclipse, solar eclipse, the meeting of the two moons in the sky, it could be a comet, a starfall, or whatever it is, and they can say, oh, this is what's happening. This would be a good time for somebody to feel like, oh, I should return to my homeland. And utilizing one of the things that a lot of old cultures did is, there was always the, all the roads lead to Rome, everything, the center of the world is blah for any country that thought they were the most important. The elves do have a saying that is just literally all paths lead back to Solinar. And they're speaking figuratively, they're speaking specifically, pragmatically, poetically. Like, everything for them leads back to this place. All footpaths, all life paths, all everything. But I also have that being said by most elves, but I also have it being said with a much darker intent by the fallen elves, that they say all paths lead back to Solinar, because they are the mirror image of these people, and their fondest wish is to see that place snuffed out. Which is fun. Or horrifying. Elves are colonizers. The elves were the first. So, technically they were colonized because the dragons were put on the world by the gods, and then the elves. The elves were the first bipedal mortal race made. So they were put down where they went, and they found the most beautiful, lovely, supposedly defensible place that had, you know, the feel that they wanted, and cultivated the great trees and fished in their rivers and grew things there, and that's where they're at. And they've been there ever since. But I do need to come up with a name for their port down south, too. I'm going to put some question marks here, because it is going to have a name, and this will be a port. This is the only Elven, I guess, the only permanent. It wouldn't even make sense to say permanent. The only, we'll say currently occupied Elven settlement that lies outside the boundaries of the two rivers, because everything else, like they have like little ports and things in other lands and places, but they are literally like either ruins or they're lost, or elves will go there and visit and see them. But they no longer explore as much. They don't go out and wander across the world, but they left their mark in a lot of places, and other people have occupied them. Pirates have taken them over on islands. Orcs have, you know, inhabited them up in the north. The fallen elves have taken over some of them, but the elves, Solinar, they only literally all their encampments and everything are between those two rivers. This port is the only place that is outside of those rivers. Say one of the only places. No, we don't even need to say that. Okay. Elves came in. I don't think that's a good name. That sounds kind of German. Yeah, persistent might make sense, DCV. I'll change it, actually. We'll say the persistently occupied Elven settlement that lies outside the boundaries of the two rivers. I've also got to come up with the names of these rivers. The one main river that's kind of in their territory, I'm going to give a much more Elven sound. The one that's farther east that blocks them and Fryland, that is going to be named, they'll have a name for it, but the common name for it is going to be more from the men's point of view. We'll say defenses. Okay, we'll come up with a name for the port later. All right, we're gonna call. I'm just literally calling this island tree right now. This is the large tree that's in that island. Yeah, this island. I don't know what the name of the type of tree is going to be yet. It's going to be a specific important tree to them. And it's also very important to Arendor, which is why it still stands. Because it is one of the few trees that survives from the founding of the world. And it's, like I said, it's beloved of Arendor. There are others, like a number of them here and there, but they are much less grand, because this one is, according to the elves, one of the oldest. The Two Rivers folk ever had a problem with this port? Nobody will have a problem with this port because it is incredibly well defended, and their ways in and out are, for them, are very, very limited. And the people of Froyland, the people who are outside, the people who are in the center part of the land, who used to be part of Agrium, the bigger empire, they have their own ports. One of them is a dwarven port. And they don't. The thing with the Elven port is it's not exactly hospitable, and it's not a great location for anyone but a very, very skilled sailor, we'll say. And they've made sure of that because of the way the prevailing winds and everything go. Getting into it, you have to come in from a very specific direction. Hey, Horace B. Over on Kick. Okay, there we go. D-elves? No. They're sea elves? No, they're not sea elves. Nope. These are literally, because if you see the way, let me bring the map back up here for you. The elves used to be quite the travelers. So in the world, what they used to do is, okay, hello machine, there we go. They used to travel all around the world, so they would go everywhere, you know, the other parts of the world, the other continents and other places. They have little outposts here and there. They have them on Agrium. They have them in other places. They have them up and down all over the place because they would just travel and they would see what was there and they would, you know, investigate and they would do whatever they wanted. But they would always come back to their lands between the two rivers here because, you know, there's the first river and the second river comes from up in this area and comes on down. So their lands are mostly encompassed inside. They kind of hold dominion over the forests on the side of either side. But here, where the Frylanders work with them, it's more of a mutual, they have a covenant to protect one another. This down here is where the big old city used to be that got destroyed. So their port is down here, and they have their road up to this area where the big tree and island is with their bridge across. This area down here, that port is just difficult to get into because of the way the prevailing winds come down around this way and around the coast. You have to know how to navigate it in there. And they were, they're great sailors, and they're great because they're elves. They're long-lived. They know a lot of things. They have very well-made boats and everything. They know what they're doing, but they don't have a lot of trade and travel out of it. They maintain it as an important place to keep. So they are elves, just elves. There are no sub-races to the elves. Unless Erudi changes that later. It is a river. It is a fort on the thing. It is a port, but it is also a fort because it's high cliffs, like the area they come into. If you've ever been to boy, I'm trying to think of a real life place that had this. I mean, if you ever gone up and seen some of the rocky coasts up along, I mean, down in the equator, you can see them in some places like Mexico and other places, and even on some of the islands down there have them. But if you go up along the coast of Oregon and Washington State, sometimes you'll see those big cliffs where there's like a beach and a way in that's kind of treacherous to get in between up to the soft area. But the cliffs go way up into the hill, and then it's kind of hard to get down in there. I've seen some places where they've done archaeological digs trying to get into some of those places, and they had to zip line people down into them because the roads or everything, destroyed. So the elves have a winding set of roads with defensive walls built that are really ancient. They're big lighthouse statues and all that stuff down into their little port. So it's kind of a defensive little beachhead, kind of. The Drow are the fallen elves. And those we're kind of covering in a different way. I went over those a little bit before. And right now there's no specific thing, like I said, unless Erudi does it with subcultures and classes and stuff that are specifically wood elves, high elves, and all that stuff. They are elves. All right, I'm going to take a tiny little sip of this. Like I said, if you guys want to send Erudi some money, you can make me drink a larger amount. But I'm not finishing off this bottle. No way. Not going to do it. But yeah, the Fallen Elves are the mirror version of the elves that kind of had... There was a problem with one of the things that they were messing around with during the Godkiller War. They found something that Grix and his magicians were working on and secreted one of them away, and they're like, we're going to figure out this super weapon before he did, and went to one of their enclaves way in the north, like far from everything, because they didn't want to mess around with it in Solinor. They went far in the icy tundra north to one of their exploratory places where they had basically another like enclave. Went there, we're experimenting on it, we're screwing around with it, and when it was activated by Grix's people, they were like, we're going to activate this, and it was like a quantum device. It went off here, it went off there. When it went off, it ripped fabric of time and space, and they ended up getting into the underside. I think it's called the underside. I think that's what he called it now. I'm losing myself in the lore. And they became mirror images of themselves. They are pretty much the antithesis of elves. They are not good. They're not a good group of people. And they want nothing but all the opposite of what the elves want. So they're, for all intents and purposes, coal black skin and black hair, or solarized version if you want to put a solarized palette on an elf. And look at them and be like, ew. They're evil. They're bad. They're bad people. Call from a cousin whose truck you loan him has a bad radio leak. What did your cousin do to it, Paul? Oh, the JJ. Oh man, I'm missing some stuff over here. Do I use a Dvorak keyboard? No. You're a nice person, not Kaio nice, but still nice. Ha! Right now, I believe, if I remember correctly, that it's not possible because they are so supremely evil. But that's not to say that Erudi might not add that as something in the later books that allows people, the extra, hits on races and stuff. Because anytime you make something like, these people are evil, and people are like, oh, I want to play one. Like, you do realize that they're evil. Yeah, but I'm not going to be evil. I'm like, okay, makes sense. Just people will want to do that. And people will want to play an evil version of something good too. It's quite possible he'll allow all of it, but maybe not right at launch. Maybe not at launch. No idea what happened to it. Part that really sucks is I just put new mudding tires on my ORV. Oh no. Gino, I'm not sure if they're going to be male-only races and female-only races. I'm not certain. Right now, I don't believe so. Because even the Soulforged technically had a sex before. They were male and female before their souls got ripped out of their bodies and put into the things. So they maintained that feeling, that the fact that they were a male or a female before they were put into these golem-like husks. So... somewhere between Romulan and Warhammer Dark Elves? Maybe? Maybe? I mean, the Romulans, they had a very specific way of doing things. You could actually consider some of the elves to be like Vulcans or Romulans too, because while they have access to all their emotions, they are very pragmatic, and they will make really cold, calculating decisions that after they're like, this is the best for everybody. I'm sorry. We're going to flood the city. You're going to kill a lot of people. Yep, but we'll save a lot of people too, so. Somebody's got to do that occasionally. All right, there, I have my port. Boom. Necrons. I don't know anything about the Necrons. I've had people play evil characters in different campaigns. Sometimes it works out, but a lot of times people tend to, when they make an evil character, tend to be like, oh yeah, you're not listening to me, I'm attacking you, and it turns into PvP, and you're like, oh, okay, I see where this went. That can be difficult when you have a party that's trying to actually do good stuff with one another, but yeah. Okay, I'm gonna put this here. Okay. Writing something up about their practice. I guess it's, yeah, it's their practice of harvesting. So I'm just basically saying they're masters at harvesting their natural resources without outpacing their regrowth, as well as helping cultivate them without, I don't even need to say helping, as well as cultivating them without interfering with their natural beauty and wildness. Because they follow Arendor more than they do Nya. So They like things to be wild, but they also get use out of them. Okay, we'll say as such, yeah. All right. So their masters are harvesting their natural resources without outpacing the regrowth, as well as cultivating them without interfering with their natural beauty and wildness. As such, non-elven visitors can often not differentiate between a cultivated field and a wild one. Okay. Let's see. I avoid Edgelord McLame. Nice. Oh, probably worse than the Frostmaiden party after ending. Oh dear. Frostmaiden stream evil characters were played very well, I thought. Although I wasn't able to keep up with up too far after the original crew had left the midstream. Oh, stream med campaign. Okay. Currently play a lawful evil character who's trying to be good. Has issues with our silver paladin dragonborn. Makes it comical, but you got to work with party when being evil. Yeah. Necrons were biological species called the Necron tier, tricked into undergoing biotransfers into living metal bodies by one of their gods. Okay. My character does evil when the paladin isn't looking. Paladin ends up being his conscience. He becomes a paladin loophole. Oof. Let's see. I need time. Do you know anyone that sells some? The JJ? No. No. Know a lot of good, bad, and shady people. However, none of them sell the time I need. Most of the bad and shady ones only sell good times with a high hourly rate and high risk. Oh dear. Oh dear. That's not the right kind of time. That's not the right kind of time. All right, let's see. What did I get here? Answering that. Okay. All right, where? Oh, I didn't come up with that name. Oh, well, I'll figure that out. Tried to roleplay a Smeagol character. He didn't last past level 3. Levistro and I play in that game together. I play a Warlock of the Fiend whose patron constantly argues with a party member's magic sword whose purpose is to kill fiend worshippers. Only I can hear, and it's hell. All right, then. I ran a campaign for a group of people for D&D at one point, and the Warlock had a patron who was giving him like little boons and things, and he's just like, this is amazing. I've never had so much fun playing a Warlock. And I kept doing, little boons. It's like, oh, hey, if you do this, you get this out of it. And I know this creature or these people have this thing. And he convinced the party to do some stuff. Occasionally they were like, you sure this is right? And he's like, would I steer you wrong? We're not doing anything really bad. These people are really bad people. And they started to kind of like just take his word for it, and they kept going along with it. Then at one point I, was doing something, and I said, oh, okay, well, you could do this. And people were like, oh, yeah, we could do that. And one of the players was like, we kind of seem to be on a slippery slope. We seem to be taking advantage of a lot of people and getting a lot of like items and stuff for them. We're doing really well. He's like, I'm starting to feel a little uneasy. And everyone's like, now you mention it, I'm feeling a little weird about this. And the guy's patron is like, oh, if you feel like that about it, because he brought the concern to the patron, he basically had a vision and said, if you feel that way about it, I could always just, stop helping you. And he's like, no, 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 I want to help. Tried to get more stuff going on. Turns out he finally found out that his patron was a horrifying creature that was just really, like, oh, this person's stupid and they're going to take everything I want, because he's like, I want this stuff. And the thing was super, super evil, but just playing him completely. And when he found that out, he's like, what do I do? What do I do? He's like, I love the power and all the stuff I've gotten, but I'm turning evil. And he didn't want to be evil. So he renounced the patron and was like, I realize I'm going to lose all these cool powers. And he's like, but I can't do this anymore. He renounced the patron and then, spent a number of episodes without any of his powers. And he's like, I want to see if I can do this. And he went literally 7 sessions, I think it was 7 sessions, with no powers whatsoever. He was literally a guy with a quarterstaff and a dagger helping out the party. And he said he had so much fun until he found a new patron and got in a completely different mindset with the character. And everybody had so much fun with that whole campaign, but they still, later on, they're just like super distrustful of anyone who's like, I've gotten word from my god. And they're like, did you check to make sure that this, did you really think about what you were told? Let's make sure that we're not walking into another trap here. So they were very super cautious afterwards. It was a lot of fun. It was a heck of a lot of fun. They ended up even having to go somewhere and bury the old weapon he had out in the middle of a desert somewhere because they couldn't destroy it. And they're like, we got to get this away from people. We can't let it fall in anyone else's hand because that guy is going to talk to him right through it. So they buried it out in the desert. They went on an entire adventure to go do it. It was pretty entertaining. That's when Frost struck. Wait, what? I had the horrific revelation that Sunker made in Serenity the Witch's character and his pen pal with the form of a Baal worshiper. Let's double check the caller ID. Oh, the call's coming from within the house. Yeah, not good stuff. It's a lot of fun, especially when the player wants their character to go through an arc like that and you're not forcing it on them. It's so much more fun. So much more fun. And the best part about that person getting a new patron is the way he ended up doing it was he refused to take help from other people after he was in that situation. They're like, okay, we're going to go to the inn. He's like, no, I'm not going to the inn. He's like, I can't afford that. I have no money. I can't do anything. Like, I'm going to go down the street and I'm going to hang out over here where all these people at the edge of the city are after the war. And he hung out with a lot of like homeless people. And one of the rat sellers, one of the people who actually killed rats in the city and sold the parts for all the people out there who could actually, could only afford to eat certain kind of things, was the person who led him to his new patron, actually. It was very interesting. Because the creature that they went to was a patron of, he was a patron of the disease that people were suffering from. And he was not a bad person. He was not a good person. He was just a force for change. And he ended up being his new patron. It was entertaining. A warlock with a pact with a creature that was basically disease. You can imagine how fun that was. All right, so I was talking about the agriculture. This. Okay. Oh boy, I typed the best. There we go. All right, we'll do that. 2 hours in either? No. Okay. Grandmother rat. Made friends with the albino tiefling, which is mean to everyone else. I didn't know I joined the tail end of Witchlight and Frost Maiden around spawns 3 modules minus for Witchlight now Frost Maiden. Ah. Okay. Are you saying you didn't know about the serial killer? Come on, I don't know. And let's see. Okay, so we've got the comments about their vines, the wine, the dried fruit. And what was the other thing? Ah. Oops. We'll go with there. Question mark, since I don't know the name of the river right now. Oh, I was writing down about the trade village that is on the Freylander side of the river that's manned by both elves and men. We'll just say that. Okay. Featuring goods from both kingdoms. There we go. Boom. Hey, Scrap Hermit. How's it going? Joined their party after the campaign switched, and Levistra was the only player that played a different character. Ah, okay. We are not pushy like the East Coasters, but I'm going to ask you in 2 weeks, your sand, what have you done to improve yourself? Just need 3 things every 2 weeks. Do it for JJ. Oh, Chris said, I will work hard to worsen myself out of spite. Uh-huh. Chrysantha Spiteful. The most spiteful of all the Chrysants. Alright, we're going to say goods from both kingdoms. Alright, so, I'm talking about the enclaves they have across the Rudia. My phone's binging at me. Okay, which is now, okay, I keep calling Paul, but there's the dark elves. In the far frozen north. Okay. question marks over. There we go. All right, we're gonna give that a name. The name is 3 question marks right now. Ha! When I don't know something, I just put 3 question marks and come back to it. Any place I find 3 question marks, I'm like, ooh, need a name. 18 watching, only 8 likes. What? I refuse to keep writing unless we get some more likes. What the heck, people? I'm gonna hold you hostage. You're not gonna see these goofy little hieroglyphs move. No way. Yeah, Kyle, why you no like? Hey, we got Kyle over on Kick too. All right. So we've got that. I'm trying to decide. Right now I have the island where that great tree is, that the only people that can go there, the only elves that are allowed on it, are the druids of Arendor that tend it, and the rightful king. Now, I think I'm going to leave it with that. I could make some other conditions on there, but I think leaving it very specific like that makes it much more interesting, because, you know, trespassing on that island pretty much means death. I mean, this tree goes back to the founding of the world, so they will protect it. I hit the like already, Levistro. No, I hit the like button. Reminds me, forgot to hit the like button. Only if you can get Erudi to add big titty goth elves. Well, you know, the thing is, the beauty of this game is you can have your DM do whatever they want. If you're like Noelle and you want some furries, you can add them. They're not going to be in the game, but you can add your own. You can add these. You can do it. I'm doing my part. Nice. Christant thinks I'm evil now. Alright, I'm gonna go see. We'll see how you guys are doing. Oh, I see 13 now. Look at you guys. Lucky 13. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, so this is the place of the king. I'm gonna note 1 or 2 other things in here, because I want to make sure that the idea is that the elves, they're kind of aloof, they're pragmatists, they think they are pretty much the best because, you know, they're one of the oldest races, and I mean, they're great at what they do, everything. A lot of people do revere them. A lot of people do think that they're amazing. I'm trying to think of one more thing that's interesting about the elves that sets them apart from, like, just elves in general in other games. I like the idea that, you know, they're aloof, they're pragmatic, they have their wild nature, agriculture, so to speak, agriculture, wild culture, and their port. And I have them being, you know, far-flung explorers way in the past, but they've kind of retreated back in their lands. Thinking about something else. Yeah. Okay. I got a couple of things in my head. All right, and that gives me an idea for an NPC, too. Are you doing your part? Are you stepping on bugs? Step on the bugs. All right, in that short time, you guys have almost doubled the likes. You got it almost up. You got it up to 15, and there's 17 of you watching now. So that is awesome. So thank you very much. All right, I'm going to write more. Yay! I have an NPC here. His name right now is Lorem, and the reason I'm calling him Lorem is because it's just a gibberish word from Ipsum Lorem Dolor, blah, blah, blah. You know, the thing that typeface people use a lot when they're just writing stuff down. I just literally threw his name in there and called him the Stargazer. He's just a stranger amongst his own kind. He spends his time traveling, talking, and learning the customs of the other races, detailing it all in his books. He realizes that since they are all more short-lived, that someone from a longer-lived race would be best suited to document their current times, whatever he can learn of their histories. But he follows his whims and the patterns of celestial events that only he seems to understand, and these dictate where he'll visit next. So he just wanders wherever his nose takes him or wherever the stars tell him to go, and that's where he goes next, and he finds more stories from people. Ever hear Cursant tap a shovel on their window? Yeah, Kyle, if you hear that shovel tap, you are in trouble. So, what kind of security is on the tree to keep the wrong people out? The security is on the island, and I am detailing that. I have a bunch of notes over there. I'm not sure if I'm going to put them in here. They're magical defenses that are really ancient that literally won't allow people to approach without causing problems for them. It is tied to Arendor. It's tied also to Orin, who is one of the other major gods that they follow. And there may be another surprise there that I'm not detailing in here, but I have in my notes because I think it would be fun, especially if there was an adventure that detailed someone having to be somewhere near this and approach it. Now, you don't want to make something like this that a player character is just going to get, zapped out of the sky or something. But if they do go there, they should get an astoundingly clear warning that this could result in something horrific happening to your character. Without it's not like an Elden Ring game where you just walk forward and you just get incinerated and you're like, oh, well, I've really learned my lesson. This is a one life mode for the most part when you go over there. So don't go over there. I do need to look up one thing quickly in some of the lore here because I want to check where... All right, so Yep, okay. So yeah, there's thing that I did notice, or I mentioned from the lore, and I was like, I think I used the name right. Yes. Okay, there we go. Oh, wait a second. Did I spell that wrong? Let me make absolutely certain. I don't like spelling things wrong. I did spell it wrong. Okay. Okay, I'm just putting this note in here for myself. We may take this out and leave it in the other notes, but what I'm writing down right now is not common knowledge, and it is only known by the Elven druids and the current and former kings of Solinor. This thing. It's a thing. That's the beauty of tinnitus. You never hear a shovel coming. That involves druids, all the animals become suspect. You hear boss music? Roll for initiative. Innocent looking tree. Oakley. I think that must be some typing there. Okay. Tax was 500 branches of e-tools at the party. No. Quarter beef that surprised me with its incoming today. Oh, yeah. Quarter cow. I love the days when I used to get that with my family. Used to get part of a cow and do that, but not recently. My family hasn't gone for it recently. I wish they would, because it'd be a lot cheaper. And I don't have enough freezer space to do the whole thing myself. I could get a chest freezer out in my garage. I should do that, in fact. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought in the entrenching tool. Yeah, I thought it was a mistype. Never mind. That's what my my vampire Hans has in Rifts. He has one of those, a little advanced futuristic version of an entrenching tool. So if anybody is in the membership stuff for the NDA, the creature stuff for the dragons, if you happen to look under the Emerald Dragons and read, you might get an idea of who is there at that tree. That's the way I'm pitching it anyway. So yeah, if you're not a member, go become a member of Discord. Get into the legendary tier of YouTube, and you can go over there and read all that NDA stuff. All you have to do, you become a member, you get the NDA from in the channel, and you sign it back and send it back to Erudi, and he will get you access through our lovely queen shirts. And then you get to go in there and read all this stuff. Not this stuff right now, but all that stuff. And there's a lot of it. There's a lot of it, which reminds me, I'm going to try something. All right, I'm going to do something. I'm going to tell you guys before I do it this time. Everybody check your YouTube settings. Make sure that you have gifted subs, that you can receive gifted subs turned on. I'm going to see if I can turn the chat a little more green. There is a lot in there. Isn't there a ton of stuff in there, Levistro? Erudi is very prolific when he's writing that stuff. There is a lot. And some of it does not include changes that I made to the God Killer story, because Oren doesn't have, references to Grix in his story right now. It's only got Kika, but there's a lot of stuff in there that just needs, some of it needs a little updating. Some of it is just really voluminous. All right, I gave you guys a warning. I gave you guys a chance. I'm gonna go hit a button here. I'm throwing memberships at people, so make sure that button's on. Don't be a Wisty Melon. Actually, she's not here probably, so well, she's gonna get missed. All right, Kaio, you got hit. Bill got hit. Levistro got hit. Gino, you did not dodge. You got hit. Brimstone got hit. Van Geist got hit. 40 Viking. The JJ got hit. John Gordon. Smokey McGabs. Look at that. Look at the beautiful green chat. Look at you people. Beautiful. Woo! Here, natural 20, exactly. All right. What was I writing about? Oh, yeah, that was yeah. So, yeah, like I said, if you read up on the Emerald Dragons and look farther down in the Emerald Dragons, you will find some notes about a very specific being. And that might give you a clue of what's there. Thanks, Shadow Warden. That's fantastic. I'm not even going to read that out loud. It's a lot of caps, though. I like it. Very well done. Elemental MJ. Oh, no, you just missed. R. Kelly, you missed too. No. Oh, how about I type that correctly? Connected to the mainland of Solinar by an arching bridge of ancient elven design, the elite of the elven forces guard not only the paths but the approach to the island terrace. Alright, let's see if I reworded that. Protection of the mainland of Solinar by an arching bridge of ancient elven design, the island approaches and paths are guarded by the... There's so much chat going by. What's going on here? What do we got here? Oh, Kyle, you just gifted some memberships. Thank you, Kyle. All right, Elemental MJ got hit. Lost in Wonderland, Patrick Lipham. Circus Freak, yay! Psychotic Mongoose, woo! Another fun fact, if you didn't like the stream, your chances are dropped significantly. Nice. We'll get him next time. Oh, Shadow Warden, 5 more Moonskull memberships. Rain Man, Kelby, Keith Blank, Michael Marco, Nomi got one, nice. Started a flood of green. I love starting a flood of green. Hey, we are talking about an emerald thing. So what I'm going to do here is let you know then. I'm going to let you know because everybody's so generous and we're having a lot of fun with the green. This island is called the Green Heart. And it is a massive island that, you know, has sides that are very difficult to get to with a boat as the rocks go around it. And they've, you know, in fact, you know, planned it that way, the way they did things. There's one bridge that connects the island, and where the great tree is, there is a massive, the hill that surrounds it and cradles it in a half moon is actually the resting place, the sleeping place of Viridithra, the Green Heart. She is an ancient, legendary emerald dragon. Oh, Levistro, you got on the green train. Mustang McCracken, Zemos McLeod, Kimak, Andrew Elliott, Evening Star, Fantasy Ambience. Nice. You guys rock. I love you people. Of course, if I save my card on this phone, it would be faster, but I didn't do that. That's fine. Levistro is very generous. Thank you, Kyle. So what do we have here? Let's see, 10, 15, 20, 25. That was 25 gifted memberships. Boom. Kyle, going to lurk mode. Need to get da beef. Okay, you go get your quarter cow. Nice. The sad thing for his quarter cow, all he got was the snout, the hooves, the tail. He didn't get the good quarter of the cow. It's so sad. Yes. The gift is the friends we made along the way. The sea of green. Wait a second. Okay, over here on Kick, Chrysanthus telling how to make really nice sherbet all of a sudden. Just a second here. Wait a second. If you put mint in a blender with frozen watermelon and a little sugar, you get a really nice sherbet. Sherbet lore. You only ask because the answer is always no. You can't be gifted. You get nothing, Erudi. Nothing. So, what I was just mentioning is there's this island at the confluence of these two rivers that is at the peak southern end of where the elves have their place. And it's this massive island with one of the original trees that was grown on in the lands before, or when the Erudi was created. It is one of the only trees that is left of that kind. There are a number of them around the world, but this is the biggest that still exists. And I have a certain ancient green dragon creature there sleeping that is the hill that surrounds it. That's one of your creations. Because you said she's in an ancient forest, and this is the most ancientest of the forests on this island. And she's the guardian of that tree along with the druids. I think it'll be fun. Because right now, she, I'm going to show you what I was talking about here on the map. I know the map is just a temporary thing, but between the smaller river that breaks it from the Fryland people, the Elven lands between the rivers, this little island in here, if you can see, there's a little tiny island right in there. You can't really see my cursor, but it's a little island next to the delta, and that is where that tree lives and grows, and that is where I think it'd be really cool to have her sleeping, looking like basically the massive hill that is surrounding the roots of this tree. Because right now I have it that great tree that, you know, stands there it overlooks the ruins of like where the human city used to be on the coast from Agrium, the delta, and everything that got destroyed in the war. But this island is still untouched because it's sacred to Erendor and Orin, and even Grix and his people weren't able to mess around with it because of her. That tree still stands. It's the oldest one. The only creatures allowed to be on that island are the druids of Erendor that keep the tree and the current king of the elves. And that is it. Anyone else, it's a death sentence to go there. It's a bad idea. Oh yeah, I think this is going to be fun. I was reading up on her again. I think it could work to have her there, so I thought I'd throw it out. You could say, yeah, that's cool, or no, put a different dragon there. You're clinically insane, Levistro? Oh, man. We still like you. Let's see. I already gifted you something too. I was a second late. Not my fault, Chrysanthia. Where your gift comes with the downside, we can make fun of you more now. Sherbet or sorbet? The generous kind of insane, though. Yes, very generous. I love it. All right. So one other thing I put in here, Erudi, is I have a little port at the... It's a little port that the elves use down at the bottom of their land. But the other thing I mentioned in here is that the elves, since they are more friendly with Erendor than they are Nya, but Nya is still, you know, an idea. They do wild culture, so it's difficult for a non-elf when they go to their lands to tell that this field over here is actually cultivated and they're growing things in there that they want, as opposed to this field over here, which is technically wild. Elves can tell the difference, but non-elves would be hard-pressed to tell when it's actually natural. They do the same thing with, you know, the grapes that they grow, well, naturally, that they cultivate everywhere. All of their things would be more... They know how to harvest them properly without taking too much away and making them stunt. And they're very patient and, well, like you said, pragmatic. So they will say, nope, we can't do anything this year with those. It'll be fine. We have more time. So that'll be fun. There was a big gifty train. Only one item left for the NPC deal. Wow. That went fast. Somebody wants an NPC in there. They have to hop in real fast. Let's see. Permaculture principles. Yeah, they harvest the wild grapes, which are technically wild, that are on the vines that grow on their specific types of trees and between them. And they just harvest them every year, and they deal and make with the stuff what they can. If they get more or less one year, they're like, okay, we'll try and do something slightly different next year with them. But, you know, drying the grapes, using the grapes in wine, finding all the natural herbs and doing all that kind of stuff. Unlike the dwarves who, you know, they're like, hey, we found a cave where these mushrooms are growing. Let's expand that cave. Let's make it even bigger, make it structurally sound, and plant like 10 times the amount of mushrooms in it. Okay, great. Same thing with bees. Like, one thing of bees is great. 10 things of bees is better. Or humankind, which is like, this is a really nice hill. Let's put a field around it, and, well, let's dig part of the hill out, too, while we're at it. Because we are in control of it. Conflict with native tribes in Americas when others came over. It could be, yeah. But the good thing about it is, this way there are, if you think about it, then technically there's always something in the Elven lands that's probably lived longer than anywhere else, because they haven't really messed with it, but they've cultivated it for, you know, century upon century upon century upon century, and they haven't used the ground up or done whatever, because they're really patient, and there aren't that many of them, so they don't have to make a massive amount of food. So that'll be fun. But I've still got to come up with the idea of the couple of cities they have in there. So that'll be another thing. And how they work with the Freilanders. And that port is going to be fun. And the Stargazer guy. I kind of want there to be a natural, not an ossuary specifically, but like a stargazing amphitheater somewhere. Or a tower. Because there should be something, especially with that Lorem guy, and the fact that one of the things I mentioned, Erudi, is all paths lead back to Solinor. So the idea is, you know, kind of all roads lead to Rome. The idea, you know, ancient civilization, but for the elves, it's a little more poetic. They're like, all the paths lead there, but all elves feel, you know, kind of drawn like this is their homeland. But they also think, you know, all paths, whatever path you take in life, you'll eventually come back. So, but the dark elves think all paths lead to Solinor, in the sense that everything they're doing is trying to get back there to destroy the place, because I think they don't like it. Since they're the antithesis, they're like, we don't want to keep this place. So I think that's kind of a fun little back and forth there. I think it could be really, really dark if you hear a dark elf say that and be like, oh, okay. Why'd you say it with that tone of voice, dude? Ooh, shiny, I never know what to do with these things. Nice. Yeah, you know, I kind of forget about that too, Michaela. I should probably do that. Yes. Yeah, I'm not sure if Levistro gave anything over on the throne stuff. I'm not sure. I think he's talking about Erudi's throne account, Levistro. Hey, history erasure button with the what is the DJ stuff. Nice. We've got a whole DJ thing going on over there. Boom. Wait, don't tell the wizard. What did you did? Oh, you gifted subs over there too. Levistro. History erasure button. Feeling Vijay Kyle. Sophia Jack. Horace B. Very nice. Look at that. The generous. Now I'm getting what you were saying over here. Okay. Now I understand. I get it. All right. Okay, we're gonna go with the lower peaks in the north of Solinar. I'm gonna say a collection of towers. Stand atop the lower peaks in the north of Solinar. Let's say has stood. Okay. Okay. I'm just gonna basically say these collection of towers have been there since the ancient days. Elven mages, arcanists, and oracles use them to track the heavens and see the ever-changing seasons of Erudia. So there's going to be more to them than that, but right now this is what they're for. All right. Just finished the last of the watermelon and added salt. So good. Nice. You know, when I was little, we used to live out in the country, and my stepfather, when he worked and he wasn't being a what would you say, a con man and getting in a lot of trouble, when he actually had jobs, he worked on roads a lot. And out in the country, in Iowa, some places where we lived, out in the back roads everywhere, they were undergoing a lot of road work all over the place to make the roads more accessible to other areas. So there was a lot of gravel roads and things being put in, hills being cut through, because where I lived, it was really hilly. And he would have some of his friends would come back and stay like on a farm we were living on or renting, and they would pull up in their truck and they would, you know, just sleep in their truck or flop on the couch or something. But those guys would eat the strangest stuff. I thought they would have peanut butter on almost anything. They would have peanut butter pickles, which I thought was weird, but I guess the salt and the brine and all this stuff worked for them when they were out, you know, sweating all day. They also put salt on watermelon, and I did not understand that as a kid. I kind of thought watermelon was okay, but seeing somebody put salt on it, I'm like, that's also where I learned how to put salt on an apple. And I tried it, and I was like, oh, this is really good. And my stepfather always used to put salt in his beer because it would bring the head back up if you let it sit too long. That one I never really got, but all the old farmers used to do that. I agree about the peanut butter pickles. That just sounds gross to me. But yeah, tomatoes will work with that too. Yep. Oh, the Amazon wish list was much easier since I've... Nice. I'm glad that he did that for you, JJ. And anyone else who used it. Salt on sweet things is really good. It's something that it took me a while to figure out as a kid. Though, my little brother, when we'd be out in the garden, because we would plant... If you guys know how big an acre is, it's a big area. When we were kids living on a farm, we had very little money, but seeds were cheap. Kids' labor was cheap because there were 5 of us boys. 4 of us could work. My littlest brother couldn't really do much because he was too young. But we would plant by hand an entire acre as a garden. One of the years we did it, more than half of that was literally we planted sweet corn. Row after row after row after row after row after row of sweet corn. The rest was, you know, tomatoes, kohlrabi, what am I trying to think? Peas, beans, watermelons, pumpkins, because we got to sell the pumpkins. If we planted them, my mom said we could sell them for money. And there was something else, zucchini. And we had so much to pick because we had to weed it and pick it and all this stuff. But going out there and picking all that stuff, my littlest brother would just, he'd pull a kohlrabi out of the ground and just start chewing on it. But he loved it. And I never understood it because I thought kohlrabi were really incredibly boring. Boring. But I do like them. Nowadays I like them. But he would never put anything, salt in anything. My stepbrother would just walk through and grab tomatoes, and he would keep salt in his pocket, and he would just eat a tomato. Just like an apple. I'm like, whoa. That I couldn't do. That I couldn't do. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting off track here. Getting off track. Sweet things, bitter things, most things really, yeah. Salted watermelon was popular during tobacco season. No, a powerlifter was bulky and needed extra protein. He hated tuna salad. He was cheap, and he would hit it with a lot of PB&J to mask the flavor. Well, that would work, but ew. Yeah, it's a lot of farmers would just keep salt in their pocket. I'm like, okay. Crazy times. Okay, there we go. Kohlrabi and rutabaga right now. Oh, there we go. You know, rutabaga is something that I was always kind of like, the hell am I going to do with a rutabaga? But, you know, now I know. Now that I'm older, I know. I made, the heck did I make? I made hash with rutabagas before. And parsnips. It was actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Let's see. Featuring goods from both kingdoms. All right. So if I were to put something else on the stargazing towers. Oops. Okay. A holy place for her and her followers. So yeah, these towers have been used by oracles to beseech Arintha for aid, as they're considered a holy place for her and her followers. Okay, well yeah, so stargazing towers with a tie to Arintha. Yeah, beets are okay. I have never loved the taste of beets. If you did buy one of the throne items, it would be enough to make a dragon NPC. Boop. Yeah, I think, I'm trying to remember what I was making with, was it parsnips? The parsnips are the ones that are peppery tasting, I think, if I'm not remembering that wrong. Was it the parsnips or was it the rutabaga? I don't know, one of them had kind of a peppery taste to it, to me. And I loved using those in things, just because when I was cooking a lot when my friend was here and she was sick, I would cook breakfast and other meals like every single day, and I got really good at cooking certain things, but I had to start branching out because I'm like, I am gonna bore everybody if I keep making the same things. So I branched out a lot. I tried a lot of very strange recipes. Some of them did not turn out well. Some of them turned out really well. Sweet potato hash is amazing if you've never had it, especially if you cook the sweet potatoes in bacon fat. I wanted to try duck fat, but when I said the two words together, duck fat, everyone just looked at me like, ew. Like, oh, but it's really good. Duck fat is great. One might say it's amazing. All right, I don't have the capital or the largest city names yet. I'm going to put the question marks in there so I don't forget I have to fill these in. Boop, boop, boop. All right, Elven and Common, called the elves. All right. Geo Fury, leave. Obviously we beat them. Got beats, part of meal too. Crescent, don't be mean, but I am mean. I can see Crescent over there stomping her little feet because she's got little feet because she's Crescent. I am mean. It's like that little picture of the bat that is like the cute little bat is like, I am darkness. And basically they're cuddling up someone. They're like, you know, I'm loving cuddles or something, but I'm also the darkness. And like, yes, you're the darkness. You are all the darkness, Crescent. Rawr. You are as frightening as a Canadian bear. Rawr. Oh, borscht is actually very good. I like beets in borscht. That I've got to say, that's very good. Yes. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I don't believe you're evil. I mean, we try. We try. But when you have to tell people you're evil, I don't know. Until you burn a city down or something, I'm not going to believe it. I'm just saying. I need proof. So do something horrible to, I don't know, Erudi. Then we'll talk. All right. It's okay. I can. Oh, I don't need to put the. What am I doing here? There we go. She's gonna come after me anyway. Whatever. Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, technically, I suppose. Okay, here's the thing. You're kind of evil to Erudi, so I suppose you have that capability. But I think I'm safe to say that your evil only comes out when it applies to certain people. Yeah? You gotta trigger it specifically, and then it's like arrow straight right at that person. It's not the shotgun blast of evil. It's more like laser through the heart, right? Okay, I don't need to actually use either of those words. Boom. There, look at that. My word count took a hit. All right. Do something horrible to Erudi is not prove evil. Do something evil to Erudi. What's the challenge in that? Oh, you guys. You guys. You know, since you guys were so awesome too and actually gave all those memberships, we're gonna let me do one quick thing. Find it. There it is. Boop. Since we got about 25 minutes left, I am going to give myself, in honor of all the green in chat, some bullet rye, because you guys were, really nice. Like I said, if you guys spent money towards, sending Erudi some money towards Legend Seeker or did something, and you guys put memberships out, which is awesome. I'm having a bit. Okay, that's a lot more than a bit. Yes. I poured quite a bit into my cup here, let's just say. Evil idea, make one copy of Legend Seeker written in nothing but puns and give that copy to Crescent. Oof. Oh, that's not nice. That's so mean. Why would you do that? All right. Okay, so the stargazing towers. All right, I'm going to take a bit of this. Yes, I just did swoosh bullet rye around my whole mouth there. Yeah, an entire shot of bullet rye that goes right out through the nose, let's just say. Luckily, well, I already covered that. Do I want to? I'm trying to decide if I'm going to put this other thing into here or if I'm going to leave it as a note. I'll make it a note for the port. Let's see. What would you call it when you put defensive structures in the water of a harbor? It's not mined. It's not spiked. It's built up. You're making it difficult to navigate unless you know what you're doing. It's like they put physical hazards in there specifically. There is a term for this, but it's escaping my brain. It's not. It doesn't start with an M, I don't think. What is it called? What is that called? I'm gonna go look it up here. There is a term for this. No, that's not it. That's specifically talking about navigation. That's not helping me. Maybe I'm not thinking of specifically a port. There's a name for it. Yeah, I think it's not called booming it. Is it? Let's see here. Coastal defense. Yeah. Placing placing things in the water to basically when you sail in to have things that you have to navigate around. Nice, Shadow Warden. I just read your message over on Discord. Oh my goodness. Yeah, because placing bollards like that, there's a word like that. And sometimes I've heard it called boom, but it's. Let's see. Yeah, those aren't. I'm gonna look one other thing up here. Yeah, because it's not that. It is. That's coastal engineering. That's not helpful. I mean, a lot of times they would put the booms, like the chains and things, but because they have chain towers and such between them. There could be a chain tower, set of chain towers and stuff like that to stop people from coming in, I suppose. Yeah, a lot of times they are booms. It's just such a silly name, but I thought there was another one. Ooh, wait, maybe this is it. Nope, that's not it. Dang it. I'm going to have to think about this one. Yeah, if anybody has any thoughts, throw it into the chat now, or if you think of it later or ideas, throw stuff into the comments. That'd be a great place for them. Yeah, jetties. Yeah. It's called being an a-hole. It makes it hard for me to boat, Frost. Exactly. There you go. I do like the idea of the boom, but I think that would be called something else because the chains going across harbor entrances, that stuff is just cool. That seems more like it would be a dwarven thing in this case. The dwarves probably would have that on their harbor, but the idea of having some sort of a revetment in there that's not a revetment, but it's actually obstacles placed to foul navigation except for a specific way. That's kind of fun. But, yeah, I'm going to have to think about it. I'm just going to say that it's been seeded... There we go. I'm just saying the approach is... the approach is sheltered, and the harbor has been seeded with massive pylons in the mouth to make navigation difficult for all but the Elven captains. Yep. They're called the harbor chains, river chains, stuff like that. They usually call it a boom or boom towers, and they have those big, what are they called? Not rondels, they're, capstan? Is that what it is? The thing where people walk and go chunka 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 around it, like people walk around in a circle. I think they're called a capstan, something like that. I think. Yeah. And let's see. Let's over and kick. Okay, it's just a flower emote. There we go. You could drive your Chevy to the levee, but the levee is dry. I could. Bye-bye. All right, we're going to have a little bit more of this. Levisto sort of like the anti-tank things, but these would be actual, like, stone pylons that are all the way down into the ocean floor that stick up. That, if you're not careful, you have to go through. So kind of not a slalom specifically, but a way to make the bay entrance harder to navigate through because you have to hit it from the certain direction, and if you don't do it right, you're going to get smashed into one of those things in the winds. So the Elven captains know how to do it because they've been doing it for so long. Anyone else is going to have to make quite a skill roll to get in there. Dang it, Levistro, now it's going to be stuck in my head. Ha! Yes, I can't remember. There's a name for that sort of an idea, and if anyone thinks of it, throw it in the comments of the video, please, because I wanna get it in there. And they're not things that the elves could, roll up and down. They literally put them there, and they've been there ever since. Because the dwarves might make things, like I said, the chain, harbor chain, and all that stuff that they can, pull the capstans back, and suddenly, the chain that's been laying out on the water, they pull it up to get the water level, and then no ship can come through. That'll be fun. That could be a lot of fun. Yeah, do it. Oh. Okay, I think you're just ingraining it in your head even more. She's coming after you. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. All right. I'm going to look at the map really quickly. See how far away that is. That's quite a ways down. I may have to move where the Elven port is, just slightly up the coast. But I like it being there, because this is where the Dwarven was in Fryland. The Elven one, I might move up the coast just a smidge. Again, since this map is just my work in progress in my head, we can move all this stuff around when Erudi figures out, you know, what the plan is for, you know, the map and who's doing it and all that stuff. But this is my working idea. Things can move around quite a bit. All right, there we go. There we go. Well, rye. I know it's hard to see with the green label here, but rye. All right. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, this is all gonna work. I don't think I need to name that yet. But I'm thinking if I go up here, I was hoping to come up with a good name for a couple of these types of trees, but yeah, I'm gonna let that percolate in my head. Can see that it's the good stuff. Hadn't had a bottle in 9 years. 9 years, woof. The not words are on the label. Exactly. Where you can make the harbor have magical chevaux de frise that rises when triggered by the guard. Yeah, that would be cool. I think that would actually be something that would be very cool in either one of them. I kind of like that sort of stuff being a little more in the like the mechanical realm for the dwarves. If it was magical, could be these guys. Where am I at here? Where are my notes? Okay, I can move over to, where's my other section? There we go, my notes. Yeah. See what the kick is doing? All right, there we go. The trees are big, like the ancient trees. Oh yeah, they're the size of a redwood, but I mean they're a massive deciduous tree, so they're not a red. Oh well, this port is not quite by the name that tree. So while it won't work for the harbor, that would be very interesting if there were a hidden cave under the island. I think that would be kind of fun, because the island, the Green Heart, oh, how about I type druids right? There's 2 D's in druid. There we go. Bam. Could the druids have awakened the coral? Oh, that'd be interesting. These trees I have right now, I have them being enormous deciduous trees. These specific trees, these are the ancient trees, like the first trees that they had, with, you know, thick craggy bark, because they're super ancient, and they've got lots and lots of roots. They're massive leaves, massive everything. So I have a couple of pictures that I did in AI not recently, a while back, that were kind of cool. One of them felt too much like a Thomas Covenant kind of tree. I was like, oh, well, they basically took that from Minas Tirith and stuff. That's not going to work. And the rest of it was, they were pretty cool looking trees. They're very intriguing because I wanted like some very fantasy elements to them. So they had very specific patterns and shapes in the bark. So I'm going to have to get more, I can get back to you guys on that. But if you guys have ideas for those kind of trees, you know, throw something in the comments. Throw them in there. Throw it in there. Oops. Because I can, let me go back to my, gotta type in the address to get back into here. Get back, because I don't remember if I saved them anywhere. Okay, I'm making a note to myself. But let's see if I can find this in here. I'm scrolling through. I've used a lot of different things. A lot of different things to generate AI images here and there. And I gotta scroll back through and find them. Check out Crammond Causeway's anti-sub defenses in Scotland. Anti-ship booms. Yeah, booms. Yep, the booms. Yep. Bark can be used for powerful potions. That's kind of cool. Call the booms boomers and cinnamon. Yes, exactly. So I wrote up a whole bunch of things about different trees and things in the world that I thought would be kind of fun for people to work and get things off of. And right now, one of them I was going to move over to the caustic strand because it was kind of a cinnamon-like bark where they had to harvest the trees without killing them to get the bark off because they're already doing the pools of salt and minerals and the waters and the healing baths and stuff, and they're becoming a really powerful place because of all the trade. Even though boats can't get there, they have to go on land. I just thought that'd be kind of fun to have even more of that kind of stuff out there. All right, I finished my 2 shots of rye. So there we go. All right, so no, that one isn't. Yeah, oh yeah, that was the one tree that had really weird bark that I didn't like. It had all these whorls and shapes and stuff in it. And that one, okay, this is the one I had with the lichen growing on the branches. But this one also had the weird shapes on it. All right, let me go to this folder. Let's see. This one was weird. I kind of liked it, but I also kind of didn't like it. Let me throw an image up here really quickly before I go. Let's not make the source visible yet. I will throw it on here. I will find the, where is my downloads folder? This was one of the early ones I found. I can't find the later ones because I refined the image. But this is one of the early ones. And, all right, I'm going to make this tree visible now. If you can see this thing, this is one of the images that I was playing around with, that I started. The problem was that it had those weird shapes in the bark, which I didn't like. They were too strange for me. But some of it was kind of cool. But I love the idea of this tree just being, it looks just massive and strong. But some of the later ones I did showed, I tried to scale it totally different. So when you saw a ship or a boat that I can't really draw down here, but if you see in the lower right hand side, there's that big rock. That thing was the size of a ship. So this tree can be seen for a long distance, these kind of things. And I had another version of it with silvery leaves, which was cool because, you know, the oak and everything. I just wanted a massive, massive tree. Yeah, there's the other ones actually had actual faces on the trees. I'm like, no, I didn't want faces. I didn't want faces. No faces. There's no faces on the trees. Welcome to the mother tree. Walnut has always been naughty. Oh. Hey, you got your beef. Nice. See, I tried to start some beef earlier. Kyle actually got some beef. Perfect. Perfect. I love it. I'll have to see if I can find the silvery version of it. Because it was... Yeah, I don't see it right now. I'll find it. I've got to organize this stuff better because I had it in folders, but then I generated a bunch of images. And then I put them in a totally different set of folders so I could keep them separate from other things I was generating for other areas. And now I can't remember what folder I saved them in. Exactly. Yeah, we're almost done. We've got 50 seconds left before I'm taking off. But this has been amazing. You guys were incredibly generous today. And I'm thinking that on Tuesday I may come back to a few of these things, but I want to move on to the gnomes. So Tuesday might be a gnomish day. We'll see. Anyway, so before I get myself dragged back into doing stuff, I am Frost. This has been Frost Written. It has been an incredibly fun time with you guys. The 2 hours passed way too quickly. I can't believe that it actually passed this quickly. There was no Calvino today because he was on my lap for almost 4.5 hours, and he finally, right before the stream, wanted to go outside. He gave me a Ralph and then headed outside and didn't come back in before the stream. So, this is me working on lore for Erudi's Legend Seeker RPG. If you look in the chat, you'll see links to the Discord and everywhere else where you can get in on all the lore if you become a member or become a legendary member here on YouTube. So I'm here on Tuesdays and Thursdays doing this. Geeks and Gamers on Tuesday 5 to 7 and here Thursdays 5 to 7. You can also find me, let's see, Sunday for Riffs over on JT Savage's channel. You can find me on Mondays on Moonskull here for Cthulhu. You can find me Tuesday and Thursday, like I said, and soon you will find me in the One Ring campaign that Moss and JJ are working on editing. We recorded our first session. It was a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see the results and how it comes out. I can't wait until they post it. It's going to be amazing. Anyway, that's enough out of me. I'm going to get the heck out of here, and I'm going to let you guys go back to doing whatever it is you guys do normally, and I'll talk to you on Tuesday. I'm coming back really quickly because I just remembered something. Rifts was the other thing. I don't know if I mentioned that for which is on Sunday, or was it Sunday? I don't remember. I think I mentioned, maybe I didn't. But anyway, please like and comment on this stream, and if you have more thoughts on harbor defenses or something coming up with the gnomes or anything on the elves or their trees, throw them in the comments. Like and comment. All right, I'm gonna really go this time. I'm really leaving. Bye.